Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video we'll learn how to cut and sew this tie back dress. No pattern needed. I'll be cutting directly on the fabric, so let's get into the video. So I folded my fabric into two and I marked my starting point like so, and then I'm using 2 yards of fabric. This fabric is a crepe fabric and it's a little bit stretchy because this is a bodycon dress. Okay, you want it to really fit and hug your body. So on my starting point, I removed 5 inches from my tape and mark my half length of 16 inches, and I added ½ inch allowance, which is 16.5. I'm removing 5 inches from my tape because you know this is a tube dress on or an off shoulder, so you remove 5 inches from your tape and from there you mark your half length, okay, which I have done. And then while maintaining my tape, I'm going to mark my bust line or my chest line of 10 inches. Then I'm going to mark my shoulder of 7 inches. Okay, so on my chest line I'm going to impute my bust circumference, so the quarter of your bust, which is bust divided by 4. Okay, you're going to whatever whatever value you get, you're going to impute that on your bust line like I have done. Then the same thing for your waist. On your waist you impute the quarter of your waist, that is your waist divided by 4, and then you mark it. Okay, now because this is going to be like a show bag, it's not going to have a back, or it's not going to have a joining by the sides. Okay, I am going to just extend the front a little bit into the sides, okay, so that it covers the side. So I'm going to extend the waist by 4 inches like I did, and also extend the marking I have on my bust line by 4 inches, and then I'll connect it. Okay, you can do 5 inches if you really want to cover or go more into your back. Okay, so I'm just making that extension so that it covers a little bit on the sides, right? So it's not going to have a joining at the side at all, so make that extension so that it covers your sides, right? So I'm just going to mark my armhole curve from my shoulder, mark it to my bust, line like this. And that is actually all for the bodies. I'll go ahead and cut this off. So for my starting point, I'm not going to cut directly on my line. I'll give about ½ inch allowance for the joining of the upper parts, right? So this is what I mean by the extension. So it's going to go into the sides to cover the sides, so that it covers your bust area, right? So I'm going to cut this again. So we have 2 pieces of this. One is going to serve as the lining, right? Now for the skirt part, I'm going to cut a basic skirt, basic fitted skirt, okay, without that. Like I said, you don't need that for this style. So I folded my fabric into 2 and I marked the length of my skirt. If you want it to be long, it depends on the length you want. I'm doing my midi, so it's going to be midi skirt, midi dress after I must have joined to the bodies. So I marked my hip of 9 inches from my starting point, then marked my knee of 18 inches. You need this knee measurement because you want this to be fitted at your knee. Like I said, this is bodycon. Okay, so on my waist, I'm going to mark a quarter of my waist and add my allowance. The same thing on my hip. I'll get the quarter of my hip and add my allowance. Okay, then on my knee, I'm going to minus whatever I have on my hip. I'm going to minus 2 inches from it and impute that on my hip, because this fabric is a little bit stretchy and you want it to really hug you, right, on the knee area. So I marked whatever I have on my hip minus 2 inches, marked it on my knee, and I'll just bring that down to my hem. Just bring the exact thing down to your hem. I'll connect the lines, connect the points. Now if your fabric is not stretchy, you can just put a slit, but because mine is a little bit stretchy, I don't need to put any slit. Okay, so just connect the lines. I don't know, my chalk isn't showing so well, but I hope you can understand what I mean. I'm just connecting the dots or the chalked place I marked, and then I'll cut this out. I'll use this as a guide. This is the front. I'll use it to cut the back. So I'm going to fold another fabric into two like this, and then I'll place the front on it, making space. I have 1.5 inches on the folded area there. That is for my zipper allowance because it's going to have a zip at the back. I'm going to cut this out using the front as a guide, but I added 1.5-inch zipper allowance at the back for the back, pattern of the skirt. Now once I'm done cutting, I'll slash the center back open, notch the zipper area and set this aside. Now this is for the strap. The strap is going to like serve as the tie back, whatever. Okay, so I'm just cutting straps, long piece of fabric to make a strap for the two straps, and then another strap that I would use for the loops for the straps. Okay, so I've cut it out. I'm going to sew this and turn it over inside out to create the straps. For each straps, which I have already done, is measuring 40 inches for each of the straps depending on how long you want it. Now I am going to cut out for the loops. I made a separate strap for the loops. I will cut out, it's measuring 2 inches, right? So I'll just cut out 2 inches of this, and I'm going to use it for the loops. I want 4 loops on each side, so that means I'll cut 8 of it. Now after cutting, I'll now mark where I want the loops to be. So from the size here, I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch. Now I'm leaving a space of 1/2 inch because I need to join the two of these bodies, two pieces of this body together. So from there I marked 1.5-inch space in between, okay, in between the marked chalked lines. And to get the exact thing on the other side, I'm just going to fold it like this, like I'm doing, and just tap so that it's just the exact same thing on the other side. And see the chalked, although it's faint, I'm just going to make it really obvious so it's the exact thing on both sides, right? So I'll go ahead and fold my loops into two like this, and then I'll pin on the chalked area. Just pin them down. Watch as I am pinning them. So I'm pinning them, which means that the loop side is facing inside of my dress. I don't know if you understand what I mean, but just watch what I'm doing. So pin everything, pin the loops to the marked area. And then for the strap, I'm going to pin it like this, and I made sure I left 1/2 inch on the outside part, as you can see, and that is for joining joining it, right, joining the other piece of the bodies that will serve as the lining. Okay, so I will now place this other part of the bodies on top, front facing front, and I'm going to take to my sewing machine and sew the size by 1/2 inch, the armhole area, just like I'm indicating by 1/2 inch. I'm only going to leave the down part open. I'll go ahead and attach the other loops on the other side, and then I've sewed it, as you can see. Go ahead and trim out the pointy parts, and then notch the armhole area because it's curved, so that by the time I turn it over, it's going to just relax and lay flat. So once I've turned it, I'm going to just, I've not even ironed, and you see how relaxed the armhole area is looking because of the notch. I will just iron this lightly because it's a light fabric, and then we'll work on the skirt so that we'll join it to the upper parts, which is the bodies. Now the skirt, I notch the center of the front, just notch the center of your front. I'm going to join my skirt part first, right, before joining to the bodies. So I'll get the center of my bodies first. So fold your bodies into two like this and get the center, and then you notch it. because you're going to matching it to the notch on your the front part of your skirt, at the center of your skirt. So I'll go ahead and join the back of my skirt, leaving space for the zipper, right, the center back that I cut into two. Then I'll join the sides as well by the allowance you put, which I've already done. I've joined the sides, joined the center back, and I left this space for my zipper, which I would do after joining it to the bodies. So on this part that I notched on the front part of the skirt, I'll match the notch to the notch that I made on the middle of the bodies like this. So match the notch, and then you're going to sew by 1/2 inch through the other side and through the other side as well. All right, I will do that, and I'm going to be back. So after joining, this is what I have. You see the extension to the back, right? I'll go ahead and finish up the remaining of the back area. I'll just overlock or weave and then sew down the 1/2 inch there and attach my zipper, and then the skirt is basically ready. That is really it for the tutorial. I'm just going to fix the strap, just loop it up, and guys, that is basically it for the skirt. I have another tutorial how to sew exactly this but on a flared dress. I'll just drop the link on my description box in case you want to see that one. Okay guys, after looping it up, this is what I have. I'll go ahead and insert my zipper like I said, then I'll finish up. Here's the front. Okay, it's looking pretty and it's simple. I'll finish up the down part, and that's the end of the tutorial, guys. Please, if you found this video helpful, thank you so much for watching to the end. If you found it helpful, kindly like and subscribe to this channel. It's absolutely free. Thank you so much for sticking to the end. I'll see you in my next one.